creating issues relevant to our affordable housing. I'm hitting on this just to kind of hit something real quickly, because there's been discussion about this site being utilized for housing purposes, and the evaluations that we have done, the Greenbrier site just up the street, literally a stone's throw, has 36 acres of undeveloped site currently now that is designated for affordable housing, which is great. It's a great project, and I think it will have continued success in that. Oh, I'm sorry. And then you also have the High Point project, that community project that's not too far from here as well, that has an additional, just a little less than 7 acres of additional affordable housing land for development as well. An issue that is rarely discussed through this new pressure of this economic growth that is predominantly high-tech, biotech-oriented, is that the Seattle-based industrial users are being forced to relocate out of the Seattle area. Seattle has a rich industrial history, and it's a great transition to go to these uses, but this particular site, which is zoned for industrial applications and light manufacturing uses, is one of the few sites that exist today that can support continued employment opportunities here in Seattle. Meyerway site as well, in its unique character, has the ability to hit multiple goals for everybody here. The total site is about 38 acres, which does not include the joint training facility here. It's everything to the south and to the east of Myers Way. Parcel B, which is immediately to the south, is 21 acres total, which includes the utility easement, the hillside, and out of that, the total development area is about 17.5 acres. As you include the utility easement with Parcel C and Parcel D, if my memory serves, that totals about 21 acres of total area. The intent of a commercial application would be to share the 17.5 acres with the joint training facility. So the joint training facility would take 5 acres. The balance of that, about 12.5 acres of usable area, which is predominantly the flat area out there that was the gravel pit up until 1990, could house multiple types of industrial applications. It could be light manufacturing, aerospace, distribution, and the probability of job employment would be in the range of 100 to 300 job opportunities for the community here in West Seattle and White Center. The balance of the area is a great opportunity. The 21 acres, which is the utility easement, the area just to the southwest of Parcel B, and then also the area to the east of Myers Way, which is highly canopied with trees, as is the southwest and the hillside. Offers a great opportunity for the city to create a park environment and allow for wetland enhancement, which actually can benefit from the commercial development as well, because the wetland areas can be recharged to a higher extent enhanced through the stormwater being redirected to charge those wetlands even further. Thank you for your time.
Again, that was Alan Robertson from NAI Puget Sound Properties. Thank you, Alan. Up next, we have Cass Turnbull from Tree Pack. Yay!
Speech. There it is. According to the agenda, I was going to come last, but this is okay. It's great to see so many people coming out here. Is this on? Is it on? Hello? Okay.
Working on it.
Technical difficulties. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Let's give it that.
So there's a couple things left out of the history of Myers Parcels, and one is John Beal. When the joint training facility was being developed, there was a fellow who was kind of a local environmental hero who was working his way up the Ham Creek watershed, restoring a really polluted, horrible stream. He was also a local hero for cleaning up the Duwamish. And he was headed up here and he ran into Myers Parcels, where they were building the joint training facility. And he knew that that would create water pollution for Ham Creek, and that wasn't good. So that he engaged in a sort of a battle to the death with the city of Seattle. Seattle was developing the parcels and was fined several $1,000s for filling in a wetland.
Oh, there you go.
It proceeded anyway, the building of the joint training facility, and I believe, if I have my facts right, that he warned them that the way they were going to manage the stormwater was going to be insufficient, and they proceeded anyway, and sure enough, during the next big storm, it washed out the restoration work that he had. So I'm not that convinced that new development on the remaining part will not damage the wetlands, and I sort of wonder about the part about how it was going to help them by funneling all the water from all the concrete into the Duwamish, but maybe there's a way. This is what the land looks like now. Along the street it doesn't look like much, but if you get inside far enough, it's like being in a country road with trees all the way around you and the songs of birds, and you can hear the chorus frogs and the crickets. And that's the view from above, and the view also from above. And the parts that would be developed are right in the middle of it, and this is what 13 acres worth of warehouses look like. And people see Myers Parcels, and they think that there's nothing there, but it's really the absence of what could be there. Right now, Myers isn't contributing to the pollution of the Duwamish. It isn't contributing to air pollution. It is acting as a filter for air pollution. It is a buffer between all the residential areas and the industrial areas, whereas if it gets developed, it'll just nudge right up to all those houses and all those low-income housing, and you'll have a lot of diesel trucks and who knows what else. So I don't think of it as something that doesn't have value, that the only value is in developing it. I don't know. Firemen do good work, and they got a beautiful facility here. It costs $33 million, and now they want to get some more stuff, and that's nice. But I think some people would also like some more environmentally responsible stuff. I think if we take the heart out of it by developing it, there would be no chance to have it as an environmental learning center, which would help with green jobs, training people, and maybe putting some summer youth to work with that environmental restoration. I think a lot of the industry has been located in this part of town. It wouldn't be a question if this was up in Laurelhurst, whether we were going to have warehouses or light industry. Thank you. What else? The city says it needs to have a buyer, it has to sell it, and that's not true. The FAS continue to keep the land for the municipal purposes of the health and betterment of the local population and environmental good. So nobody has to buy it. It could be kept on hold. There is a feeling, there's you're kind of told that the public has to come up with the money to buy it. We could keep it as it is until such time as Parks does decide it would like some new property. And 100 years from now, are we going to look back and say, boy, sure, I'm glad we got those warehouses? Or are we going to say, comment, that's all I have to say.
All right, and that was Cass Turnbull from Tree Pack. Thank you, Cass. Up next, we have Mary Fleck from Seattle Green Spaces Coalition.
It's going to be really exciting. And it has music. Who is here from Delridge? Got 4 or 5 people. Who is here from Top Hat? 1, 2. Whoa, Top Hat. Who's never heard of Top Hat? Meet your neighbors. Could I have a little remote thing? Let's see, who's here from Highland Park? Yeah. Thanks. Who's here from Greenbridge? This breaks my heart. White Center. All right, thank you. Seattle Green Spaces Coalition. Who did I miss? South Park. Who else did I miss? West Seattle. Anybody else? Yes. Ballard. Mount Baker. Burien. Normandy Park. All right, this is not just a West Seattle issue, is it? This is all of Seattle. And Seattle Green Spaces Coalition is reaching out to groups throughout Seattle to engage them to get involved so that we don't hear just a top-down decision-making on this land. Is really too important for that. So we are asking for 4 principles to be followed by the city. That it follows through on the equity and environment agenda with whatever it does. That we promote green jobs and public health with this land. That the health of the Ham Creek watershed is promoted and enhanced. But most of all, we would like a meaningful engagement process. Okay, and that means people don't come up and stand here and talk to us, but the community participates and decides in what's going to happen next, because this land is very valuable. This is not just an empty old gravel pit. How many people have actually walked through the site? How many people want to walk through the site? Okay, on your way out, sign the sign-up sheet, because there was a tour today, and if you didn't hear about it, you want to go on the next one. The land is very valuable because it actually has a dollar value. Our clean air keeps us healthy. Respiratory problems, how many people at Arrow Bridge know somebody who's carried around an oxygen container behind them? Okay. Asthma in White Center, asthma in South Park. This can actually save us money if we keep the trees, making it clean for us. So there's a dollar value in keeping things green. Trees, we know, make us healthier. Has anybody noticed that layer of smog that we start to see in Seattle in the summer? Sure. It did not used to be here when I moved here 20 years ago. Oxygen and trees have a vital function for our ecosystem, part of the web of life, and we have to respect that part of the web of life. Ham Creek. Has anybody actually seen the wetland? Yes, 1 person in the back. It's beautiful. 3 people, 4 people. We have water that flows through this site and goes into the Duwamish. And the Duwamish River is a Superfund site. Are we proud of that? I would like us to be proud of cleaning it up and keeping Ham Creek clean. It goes through these lands here. Green jobs are a great possibility, and that includes internships for our youth, I challenge the city to engage in real ways we can come up as a community with the right responses. A few months ago, our mayor came up with the Equity and Environment Agenda, and he made this promise: self-determination, and that the actual communities are involved in what happens. So I challenge the mayor, and I challenge his offices to actually have real engagement on that.
Yes.
Who is not here tonight? It is very dismaying that we do not have people from Greenbridge here because they're the closest neighbors to the west. How much public input does the city actually need? Over 1,600 people have signed a petition asking for the sale to stop. How much input do we need? And that's a question I'd like to have answered during the question and answer period. What do you see when you see this land? So get involved. There's many things to do. We have a survey, and we also have a slip of paper with the council addresses on there. Does anybody have one of those slips of paper? Yeah, they're available outside. Thank you.
And again, that was Mary Fleck with Seattle Green Spaces Coalition. Up next, we have the White Center Development Association's Marie Pino. Is it Pino or Pino?
It's Pino.
I want to make sure.
Pino and do this. All right, that works. So I guess one of the first things I'll answer is, what is the White Center Community Development Association? Well, we're a nonprofit located in White Center, which is a community adjacent to Seattle. And we engage in programs in 3 lines of work: family development, community building, and neighborhood revitalization. And our primary concern in all of those lines of work is lifting the voices of people who live here and doing that in an equitable way. And so what that means is we recognize that there's certain voices that have been historically and continue to be marginalized. And in White Center, that means a lot of folks who don't speak English as a first language, a lot of low-income renters, in housing in the area, et cetera. And I think we are missing some of those voices here tonight for sure. So when we also underlie all of our work with the community-generated data, such as through a neighborhood-wide community survey that we've done. So when Seattle Green Spaces Coalition approached us about the sale, at first we were a little skeptical. We said, oh, what do we have in common with a group of environmentalists? But we were also really grateful. There were 33 acres adjacent to White Center, really about to be transformed, and the great majority of White Center residents had no idea about it and had no feasible way to really get involved. So when we signed on to the Green Spaces letters regarding the sale of the land, we're absolutely pro-environment, definitely, but more than being pro-parks specifically or anti-trucks, we really think that Green Spaces Coalition and the CDA emphasizes the need to halt the sale, for the city to take a leadership role in engaging the community and envisioning around the possibilities for the land, or the money from the sale, or both. And do this in a way that's consistent with their race and social justice initiatives. So that means ensuring that no communities go unheard or marginalized. I think as Mary pointed out, there's no need to pit environmental equity against economic development. 21st century folks, one of the most forward-thinking cities in the nation, definitely a lot of options there. Normally we don't get a lot of say because most land is privately owned, but if this is indeed the largest tract of undeveloped land that the city owns, the possibilities for the impact of the city taking a more innovative role, I think is huge. And I'll say flat out that I think the current recommendations from FAS for the parcel, they really don't achieve the end of creating green jobs and employment, looking towards a future where there's opportunities that are sustainable. Not to mention, there's zero provisions for local hire, ensuring that underemployed White Center residents are going to benefit from any employment opportunities, whether from the trucking operations or from zipline was another proposed recommendation. And there's no recommendations, never mind assurances, that the majority of the money from the sale will go back into the communities that are most affected here, which are low-income residents in Eastern White Center and South Park. Certainly we're glad that some some of the money is going towards homelessness initiatives elsewhere, which is impacting the whole city at large. But what about the other millions of dollars at stake from the sale? Where's that going to go? Anyway, it's no surprise that the recommendations don't reflect these concerns. I can assure you that maybe it's potentially intentional that the vast majority of our residents haven't heard about the sale and that there's, wasn't multiple languages in the notices. And the city wants the land that seems to go to the highest bidder and to place minimal constraints on the buyer. And we see time and time again, it's not necessarily what's best for people who are most heavily impacted.
That was Marie Pino of the White Center Development Association. Up next is Celie Savusa. I want to make sure I said that right. Not only with the White Center Development Association, but a resident.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi. So, I'm the executive director at the White Center CDA, and Marie has been working with green spaces. Tony Bowe, as you know, we signed a letter on behalf of this process. And I just want to say I was born and raised in Seattle. And actually, I grew up was born when I was little. We were in the central area. And fast forward to today, seeing families and communities of color being pushed further and further south because of projects like this. And, I just want to be really transparent. One of the reasons that I'm here as a resident is that there are 70 languages or so that are spoken in White Center and South Park. This is a constant struggle around how do we lift community voice into projects like this that many communities would embrace and understand. We just need to do something really simple. Ask families what they think. And more often than not, communities of color have been engaged or involved really in a conditional way, not in a real meaningful way, as Cass talked about. We want to be part of this. And when we were approached by Green Spaces, one of the first things that came to my mind was the conversation with the Duwamish tribe. And that this is Duwamish land that we stand on. And how much have we thought, how much has been given to the needs of the Duwamish community, the Duwamish tribe, and the Longhouse, and how that all intersects. For me, it's not just about White Center and South Park. This region that we're really trying to hold on to the diversity of community that lives here, currently exists here in White Center. We want to figure out how our business district, which I refer to as the other international district, how do we help to continue those businesses that to continue to thrive and be part of this community? The only way that we can do this if the city and the local government is willing to have the conversation, to help us elevate our voices, but to let us be part of the solution. I believe, the strength really lies in the community and the knowledge that is needed for projects like this that are very complex and is far-reaching. Unless the community's voices are involved, it's meaningless, and we continue to marginalize our communities. So I'm just thankful for this opportunity. I live in White Center. I actually live right in Top Hat. We moved to this community 20 years ago, and it was interesting to hear which residents got the notices. I didn't, and I was asking folks, did you get the notices from the city? And so, this is a broken record. Translation, interpretation. When we have a meeting in White Center, when the CDA hosts it, it's like a UN meeting. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm just saying it's the people that live here that we really want to hear from. So I really urge the city to utilize its race and social justice frame to really do this work in the right way and embrace the voices of the community, the collective community, to make sure that it's a win-win for everybody. Thank you.